Hey there, my name is Héloïse. I am a relationship and personal coach. You can connect with me on Instagram at Héloïse Healer. And I'm going to talk a little bit about my own experience dating as a trans person, and then share a little bit of advice that I think would be helpful for those dating trans people or looking to date someone who's trans. So a little bit about my experience. I mostly have always dated on queer dating apps. I always prefer this because it feels a lot safer, and it feels like I don't have to explain things. And that's an experience that I think a lot of trans people have. Is there's a lot of concern about safety because there is a lot of violence in the world against trans people, and having a place where you will be respected, but also you don't have to explain a whole lot is just really nice. And what I look for in a person when I'm dating them is someone who's understanding, safe, and also curious. I really like conversations that can be flirty, fun, emotionally vulnerable, and also it flows naturally, and a lot of that is accessible when there is an air of safety and just respect. And yeah, something I really value too is when the person has a clear understanding of what their intentions are and is, upfront with it. But also it can happen where you're not really clear. And what you can just do is be upfront with that as well. A little bit of advice that I think would be helpful for people to know about dating trans people is a lot of it is about respect, again, and safety. And once you get these basics down, I think a lot of connections can flourish. So I think knowledge, being aware of what it means to be trans is very important. Topics like dysphoria, which trans people may have, but is not required. What I would encourage someone who doesn't know about this is to ask questions. If you don't know something, politely ask about it, but also do your best to research on your own. It can be really tiring having to explain things all this time, and yeah, it would be beneficial to have someone who just really understands, or at least is open to understanding new things, right? And basic respect for a trans person would kind of look like, not making assumptions about them, their gender, asking about their pronouns, preferences, and when it ever gets to that point, respecting their boundaries and personal space, what they're okay with, what they're not okay with. Not outing them to anyone without their explicit permission. I would also suggest to not talk about pre-transition topics unless you're given explicit permission. So like asking about their dead name, asking about past or future surgeries. I would really encourage not to talk about this again until it's been explicitly consented to. And yeah, I would also just respect their autonomy, not really making suggestions like, oh, you should do this, or have you considered this, unless that's been, asked for. So besides that, I would say one really important thing to lean on when you're getting to know someone is be curious. Lean into the things that you're curious about, you want to get to know about a person. Being trans is great, but it's just one aspect of our lives. There's so many things that you can ask about, like hobbies, dreams, what drives them. A really fun question that I find as a trans person is when someone asks me, when do you feel most euphoric? When do you feel most like yourself? And since we always talk about identity, this can be a really fun question. But also be vulnerable yourself as well. Share about yourself, share about your dreams and things that, make you really curious. So yeah, this has been Héloïse, and that's all I wanted to share. Thank you.